So welcome everybody. We're glad to all be together for this Taittareeya Upanishad class. I feel like we're in a really important part of it. Thank you so much, Bindaji, for taking the time to really go into this in depth in a way that hopefully we can really understand how this applies to our own lives. I also want to thank Prakash for everything he does to help bring this room and this house forward. So just a reminder that you're always welcome to find the replays for the classes and the Sunday Q&As here. Actually, we're now calling them open discussions, and that the classes are also available on Bindaji's YouTube channel, Advaita Retold. And again, just there's always something, one or the other, happening here Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday at 8:30 p.m. IST. So thank you for continuing the class for us, Bindaji.
Thank you, Artemisia. Thank you, Prakash. Namaste and welcome to all of you. As usual, we'll start our 33rd session of the Taittareeya Upanishad. We are in a very important juncture of the second part or second chapter, and where we need to understand our relevance to the Upanishad. I'll explain to that. Before that, let me do the Shanti Mantras. Om Namo Brahmadibhyo Brahma Vidya Sampradaya Kartrubhyo Vamsharishibhyo Mahadbhyo Namo Gurubhyaha Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Pada Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha Ishvaro Guru Ratmeti Murti Beda Vibhagine Vyomapat Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Tasmagurubhyo Namaha. The Shanti Mantram of this Upanishad, Part 2. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So Asadva Idamagra Asid, that is on the Saptamanvak, which we are doing right now. We have almost come to the end of it. Yadahi eva esha etasmin adrusye anatme anirukte anilayane abhayam pratishtam vindade adha so abhayam gato bhavati. Yadahi evai esha etasmin udaram antaram gurute atatasya bhayam bhavati. Tatveva bhayam vidusho manvanasya tadapyesha sloko bhavati. This is the final part of the mantra which we are now discussing. Here we have to understand that what is the intent of the Upanishad here. When we are not in a position to understand the reality of our experiences, we are driven by the names and forms. But the names and forms per se are not permanent or eternal. They are based on something which is other than itself, which is eternal in nature for their own existence. Therefore, the Upanishad says that Etasmin adrishye anatme anirukte anilayane. This way, one who sees Brahmani, that is adrishyam, where means not perceivable by any of the sense organs, including the mind. Anatme means now anything that doesn't have a body of its own, neither the feeling of the ego of I and mine, aham mama. Therefore, anirukte, there is no definition which can happen to it. Only what has got names and forms have got definitions. Niruktam. So therefore, it is called anirukte. Aniruktam means without any definitions. Anilayanam. Nilayanam means needam or ashrayam. It is not a thing which needs a dependency on others for its own existence. On the contrary, even the space which gives the dependency for existence to everything in the space, that space has a dependency on this Brahman. Sarva karya dharma vilakshana. There is no karya or effect which can be said of Brahman or is Brahman in its purity. And karya dharma means the dharma of the karya effects. Like we have the wind has its dharma, or the sun has its own dharma, the prana, etc. has its own dharma, the animals, birds, human beings, the stones, rivers, everything has got dharma. Dharma means not the righteous duty. It is on its own nature with which it is identified, or which makes it itself in the name and form. Like the shining nature of and the heat of the sun are the nature by which we identify sun. Same way, the breeze, when it is brushing our skin, we feel the existence of breeze. So that is the dharma of breeze, etc. So these are all karya dharmas. Karya means effect, or what has been formed out of Brahman. Akashad Vayu, Vayu Agni, Agni Rapaha. All those things have come one after the other from that. So, Sarva Karya means there is no way you can segregate Brahman in this form. Vilakshane means without those categories of the same. So, this is the way in which one has to understand Brahman. But how will it take us to the state of fearlessness, abhayam? Surupa prasishto hi asau yada bhavati tada na anyat pasyadi anyat shrunoti anyat vijanati. Therefore, pratishtam stititvam vindade labade, or gets established. Why means Surupa pratishta, establishing one's in its own nature or its own true identity. Hi asau yada bhavati is when it is happening. Then only one can say that when you are all by yourself or in yourself, there is no otherness to you. The only example we can show is that was the deep sleep, where you are in yourself. Tada, in that situation or in that case, na anyat pasyati. There is nothing perceivable other than yourself. Na anyat shrunoti. Neither there is any sensory activities by which you can find anything other than ourselves. Na anyat vijanadi. No way we can say there is something other than me existing. So only that is the state of pratishta, what the Upanishad is talking about. Pratishta means established, or sthiti, or the status in which we are like that. So when we do not have anything other than ourselves, but we do exist, is in our deep sleep. That is the only example which we can refer to as an example. So when it is happening, sarvado hi nirbhaya brahmana drishyante satsu bhuteshu bhaya hetushu. One who has realized this state as his true nature or as his own reality, which is not in the same state, but is the reality even when we are experiencing our waking or dream. That is our reality of the dream, of the deep sleep, is what we have to understand. Only in that case, we are becoming nirbhaya, means without fear. We don't have any fear in our deep sleep. Do we have? We don't. In dream we have fear, in waking we have fear because we are seeing otherness there. And the only place where we do not see otherness or experience otherness, yatra anyat pashyati anyat shrunoti anyat vijanadi, where there is no perception, no sensory object activity, nor any way of comprehension or knowing of anything other than ourselves. In that, we have nirbhayatva, the absolute fearlessness. We are neither worried about, we have a fear of death or fear of birth, sickness, even if we are bodily less by any amputation or operation or accident or anything which has happened to us. In the deep sleep, everyone is in the same state. Everyone will not be in the same sleep at the same time, need not be. But whenever we go to that state, there is no difference between one person and another person in the deep sleep from their first person experience. From the external third party experience or perception, the two individuals are with two different bodies, maybe sleeping separately. But from their own personal experience, there is no difference at all. And that nirbhaya pradishta, or that state of establishment of fearlessness, is what a Brahmana, one who has known the Brahman, experiences all the time. Because he doesn't see anything other than himself, or he doesn't perceive anything other than as himself, or he doesn't have any sensory, actions where whenever he's seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, all those things, he knows they are nothing but consciousness or awareness, which we call it by different names. What is touching is not different from what is seeing, but we depend upon different instruments, so we call them as touching and sensing if we are seeing. But when we look at the intricate portion or the nature of it, that is experience, and experience is nothing but knowing. That knowing is not different whether you are seeing or touching or feeling or sensing or then. The description and the details may vary, but the divide of the anirukte, anilayane, all those state, when it is coming to that state, there is no definition for experience, whether we are seeing it or touching it or tasting it or anything. Every experience is an experience. Pradibodham, that is what the word used by Kena Upanishad. That experience of every nature, whatever it is, there is something which is common to all of them. That is the one which a Brahmana sees. Even when the Bhaya-hedus are existing there, he is knowing the world, the names and forms, the object of vision is different from what is the object of touching, etc. He knows that. So, Satsu Bhaya-hedushu, even when these causes for these things are existing, he is not looking at the paraphernalia of what causes the experience, but he sees in them, it is different methods in which the same truth is coming to him. It may be delivered by eyes, or it may be delivered by ears, or it may be delivered by taste, etc. But what is coming to him is pure consciousness or awareness. Therefore, yuktam asati bhayamatrane brahmani. Such people who have established in this nature, they do not see differences, and therefore they don't have any bhayam. Therefore, what happens? Yada na anyat pashyati an atmani cha andaram vedam na kurute tada abhayam gado bhavati. Only in that state, you can say that you have attained fearlessness or you have attained the absolute freedom. Bhayadarshanam eva hi bhayakaranam. Veda darshanam hi bhayakaranam. Wherever we have a separation, that will create a separation, and from the otherness, there can always be fear. Alpamapi vedam pashyati ityartha. Even an iota of difference if you create in that, then we will have the fearness. Alpamandaram kurate bhayam bhavati ekatvena amananyasya. So Veda Drishtim, even if it is in the name of Ishvara and the Sevaka, that I am a servant to the Lord, or Ishvara and I am a Bhakta, even that type of this thing, it can cause fear because you will be afraid of the higher one. It is not that Advaita is not accepting these things. They have their own roles as a sadhana or a method in purifying your mind. But here we are not talking about the purification of the mind. Here we are talking about the experience of a Brahmatjnani or a Atmatnya, one who knows the reality as his true nature. The others have no idea what is the reality, so they are in the process of cleansing their chitta or their intellect. So for them it is all valid. The Ishvara is valid, the Bhakta is valid, all of them are valid. But from Advaita point of view, they are all initial sadhana margas, whether it's yoga, bhakti, or anything of that sort. Tasmat vidvanapi vidvanasau yo ayam ekam bhinnat atmatvam na pashyati. One who does not see, only he is called a atmatya or vidwan. There is no difference between the vidwan and avidwan from the point of experiences which are coming to him. The vidwan also is experiencing the world of objects. The avidwan, the jnani and the ajnani is having the same experiences. In the experiences, what the jnani sees is consciousness and awareness, whereas what is seen by the ajnani is the descriptions and the adjectives and the qualities of it, because of which he has likes and dislikes, good and bad, ugly and beauty. All those multiple beauty, all these things are applicable to avidwan or one is a ajnani who is not knowing this knowledge. Therefore, uchcheda hedu darshana uchchedya abhismatasya bhayam bhavati. Uchchedya means to deroot or uproot. So uprooting oneself from the knowledge of duality can be a cause of fear for many. Therefore, bhayam bhavati. This is exactly what Gaudapada said in the Mandukya Karya. Abhe bhayadarshinaha. In the one absolute freedom and fearlessness, there are people who are fearing that, because that fear is not of anything else. It is the fear of the death of the ego of them. When the ego or the individuality, will it die? I will not be anymore the I which I am now claiming to be me, myself, because I am used to my wealth or progeny or my relationship or my name or fame. All those things will be lost when I know Brahman, because in Brahman there is nothing other than Brahman. So what will happen to all these things which is acquired by me in many of the karmas? So yajnas and yagas and sorga kama, I want progeny, putra kama, pashu, all those things from the Vedic period onwards to the modern period where people are accumulating, aggrandizing money and all those things which is there. If you think you are the body, all these things are required. But are you the body? Are you the physical body which has undergone the change, but you have not undergone any change of yourself? You remain the same. that nature of our true nature, one who knows that such a person has no birth, no death. Na jayate mriyate va kadachit. Nayam bhutva bhavitava. Nan bhuyaha. Ato nityashashvato ajo nityashashvatoyam puranaha na hanyate hanyamane sharire. Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says this in the second chapter. This Atma has no birth. This Atma has no death. And Avinashi, it has no nasha, for no destruction can happen to it. Neither by the sword nor by the fire, nothing can burn it. The body, you are not. But our so much of identification, the body, bhayam bhavati. Because of that, we get a fear that what will happen to the wealth I have accumulated? What will happen to the name and fame I have accumulated? What will happen to my wife and children or my friends and circles? They have a social standing. I am well known in the society. I may be having a post which is recognized and revered, and many people will be there in my beck and call to obey me. What will happen to all of them? So vidwan api avidwan asahu. Whether you know this or you do not know this, the reality doesn't undergo any change. The vidwan who knows that, the jnani who knows that he is not the body, he is the Atma, for him there is nothing other than Atma. Even the name and form and the money and everything is Atma only. It is only the name and form in it. For the avidwan or the ajnani or the ignorant person, for them they are all real because he is relating them to his physical body. Tasmat jagataha payadarsanat bhavate nyunam tadasti bayakaranam hedum uchchedya tad anuchchedyakam atmakam yato jagat bheti jagat vibheti. So when these things are not known, you will be afraid of even the world. Even though you are in the world, transacting with the world, every moment of your life is riddled by fear. What will happen the next moment? You have no idea. We are all afraid of tomorrow. We are anxious about tomorrow. We are worried about tomorrow. We do not know what will happen tomorrow. So all this thinking which is happening is because of our relationship with the body, physical body. But when we were in the deep sleep, did we know we had yesterday, today and tomorrow? No. We did not have the fear. We were in a state of bliss where there is no happiness higher, happiness lower. That happiness is a state all encompassing, or it is on totality of happiness or bliss. We are so used to the bliss which is in the nature of higher happiness, lower happiness, longer happiness, shorter happiness, instantaneous happiness, peak of the happiness and the low of happiness. All those variations we know. But that state of in Atma, when we are in our Atma Bhava or in our own true nature, there is no such variations. We cannot call it as a peak. We cannot call it as a low. It is neither low nor, it is a totality of happiness. In the totality of happiness, can there be a high or low? In the space, is there any higher place or lower place? All place in the space is the same. The high and low is in relation with some reference. But in the space, where will you refer to for high or low? Same way, in the same happiness which we are looking at is not dependent on the world of objects. And if you have a dependency on anything other than yourself, then you will be afraid whether that happiness will remain, happiness will come or go, will have a higher or lower nature of it. Everything is a cause of fear for us. Therefore, bhayam, when you are having the otherness, you will have the fear. And when you do not have the otherness, then you are in a state of fearlessness, because there is nothing to be afraid of. That is what the concluding of the seventh section is saying. Now we will go towards the 8th section. The 8th section describes the bliss of Brahman, or the Atma Anubhuti, or the Ananda, of which the worldly experience is a mere reflection. The happiness what we call from the world of objects is not a real happiness. It is a reflection of the happiness of our own true nature. Even the highest worldly happiness is produced by external factors and depends upon certain actions of the part of the enjoyer, whether it is the Hiranyagarbha or Brahma, down to the ordinary human being. Beyond these things, the highest worldly happiness lies. Beyond the Hiranyagarbha's happiness lies the happiness of the bliss of Brahman. But there is no variation for it. So we do not say that, we cannot say that it is a higher happiness or lower happiness. Those who experience it, who have realized this in their own identity, by identifying themselves as Supreme Spirit or the Supreme Brahman, that person, the bliss of that person, has no higher or lower degrees. Therefore, now the Mimamsa, Ananda Mimamsa, Brahmananda Mimamsa means Vichara or enquiry. What is this Brahma, Ananda, what the Upanishad is talking about? What is the happiness what the Upanishad is referring to? So the first part is that Bisha Asmat Atha Pavate, Bhata Pavate, Bisho Deti Suryaha, Bishasmat Agnischendrascha, Mrityur Davati Panchamayiti. Now here, the Upanishad is referring to Vata Pavate, the wind, Surya, Agni, Indra, etc. and Mrityu, Panchama Mrityu. These are the examples which he is talking about. Bisha means Bhayena. Bisha is a Tritiya. So Bhayena. Asmat Vada Pavate. This wind which we are seeing it as breezing or tempest or cyclone or all those wind is moving because it is afraid of something. The dharma of the vata or the wind is to blow, or whether it is a breeze or a tempest, doesn't matter. That is the nature or the duty of the wind. Why it is doing that? Because Upanishad says that the wind is considering itself as separate from Brahman. Here wind means it is not the physical wind we are talking about. It is the Devata or the deity who has the control over the both material wind and unmanifest wind. Both are under his control. But he himself is not free from fear because he has attained the state of the deity of wind by doing karma in the karma kanda. He had the yajna done that, let me become the deity of the wind in the next janma or next birth. So like that he has done this, and after the what you call the delusion, the major delusion, when the world came up again, the deity which was there in the earlier pralaya becomes a man to perform the duties again, because he realized even by becoming that, he was not able to become one with Brahman. So he abandoned it and came down back to the human form to do the perform the duty so that he can get a higher life. But those who did not know, who wanted to become the deity of the thing, he takes the next birth as a deity of the thing. But he has still not identified himself with the Brahman. Therefore, he has a designation and the power of a deity of heaven. He can blow it as a tempest or he can blow it as a breeze. But he is doing this at the will of Brahman, because he is considering himself as separate from Brahman, just as the breath in our own body, which will come in Agni Chandrishta, Pranadi. So all of them will come there. But here, even when we are in our deep sleep, our body is maintaining the prana, apana, the panchavayus. Why is it being done? Because for the Atma. Atmanastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati. So it is being done for the purpose of the Brahman or Atman in ourselves. It is for ourselves, not in us. We are not endowed with Brahman. We are Brahman or Atman. Therefore, fear of us, the prana, apana, etc. is taking place. Bisha udedi suryaha. The sun is rising, shining, and giving light and heat and maintaining the Annamaya onwards, everything for the body. And every body has got Atma in it. So Surya thinks the Devata of Surya, not the physical sun. Not only that, even the deity as sun, the Surya Devata, he is afraid of Atma or Brahman because he is considering himself separate. Udaram andaram gurute, atatasya bhayam bhavati. So Bisha udeti Surya, the Surya is having that nature of it. Bisha asmad agnischa indrascha. So not only Agni Devata, Indra Devata, or all of them are worried or not worried, afraid of Atman or Brahman because they are considering themselves as separate. Like here in our world, we are considering Ishvara as greater than us, and then we are afraid of Ishvara and doing all the puja karmas or the appropriate, appreciation for the Ishvara or Devatas, whether it is in the name of whichever form of the deity is there, Vishnu, Shiva, Mahendra, Brahma, Ganapati, Hanuman, Devi, or any other form of deity which you are considering yourself separate, you are afraid of it, and therefore you are performing your duty thinking that if you do your duty not well, you will be punished by the deity. Same fear is there for the wind, the sun, the fire, and the Indra, and all of them, because they know they are considering themselves not as Brahman. Therefore, they have fear, and that is the reason why they are having fear. Mrityur dhavati panchama iti. The panchama mrityu dhavati. The fear is the fifth one of death. The fifth aspect of death is running all over the world and consuming where the Atma has left the physical body, that is being taken away by the Mrityu. What is that? When the Upanishad says Mrityur Davati Panchama iti, the Shat-Vigaras, we know the Shat-Vigara or the 6 formations in that. Asti Janma, Asti Jayate, Vardate Parinamate, Apakshiyate, Nashyate. So all these things. So Asti is the only one which is not coming into the category of Nashyate. What is Asti? Nasato vidyate bhavo na bhavo vidyate sada. So the Asti is never getting worried about Mrityu. But all other thing, and that is why it is mentioned as the fifth one, Mrityu as the fifth one from that point of view. Dhavati means it is running out of fear of this Atman everywhere here and there, because you see the Mrityu every nook and corner of the world. So the Upanishad says that Itaramantaram Kurute Atatasya Bhayam Bhavati. Even if you have an iota of separation, yourself as separate one, even from Brahman. They let it be sun, the moon, the fire, the wind, etc. Or even the Mrityu Devata, whom Nachiketa went and met. Even he is fearful about Brahman. Therefore, Panchama iti, Bhavati. Therefore. So the Bhashya goes like this. Visha Bhayena Asmad Vada Pavate. So what I told that this wind is moving because Bhisha or Bhayena or because of the fear. Asmad means from this. Now here the word Asmad has to be taken as Brahmavit or can consider it as Brahma also. Because Brahmavit and Brahma are the same. Why I am thinking about Brahmavit? Because in this Anuvak or in this section, we will be led by step, by progress, what is the happiness or the nature of Ananda of a Brahmatnyani. So Asmad here is not referring just to Brahman alone. Even the Brahmatnyani who is Brahmavid Brahmaiva Bhavati, that Brahmavid Apnodi Param, that two statements when we take it into consideration. So Asmad means the Brahman or Brahmavid. Both can be taken. Bisha Udeti Surya, Bisha Asmad Agnishendrascha, Mrityur Davati Panchamaiti. Vadadayo hi Maharha Soyam Ishvara Santaha Pavanadi Karyeshu Ayam Ayasa Bahuleshu Niyata Pravartande Tad Yuktam Prasastarihi Sati Yasmad Niyamena Tesham Pravartanam Tasmad Asti Bhayakaranam Tesham Prashastra Brahma. So what is saying that? Vatadaya hi Mahan Arhaha. Swayam Ishvara Santaha, even if they are attained the Ishvara state or divinity, because Vada, here he talking about the deity of water, I mean a deity of wind. So Adayaha means wind, the sun, the fire, the moon, the Mrityu, etc. Swayam Ishvaraha Santaha, even by attainment of the divinity, by controlling for the whole world, the sun, the moon, the fire, etc., all are having the statehood of divinity. Pavanadi karyeshu ayasa bahuleshu niyata pravartande. Ayasa bahuleshu. This ayasam means effort. Multiple efforts, which Pavanadi means all the Pavana, the wind, sun, etc. They, because of multiple nature in which Niyada Pravartande, as if they have been deployed by somebody else. Tad Yuktam Prashastari Sati. Then it is, well established, or it can be well understood that Prashastari means when there is somebody who is ordaining or ordering them. Prashasta means Prashasanam, or one who is giving the order to them. Yasmad niyamena tesham pravartanam. Because of whose niyamena, orders, tesham pravartanam. All of them are obeying the order of Brahman or Brahmavid. And therefore they are all doing their duties religiously without even missing one moment where they are supposed to do that. The sun doesn't delay, nor does the wind, nor does the fire, nor does the moon. Tasmad asti bhayakaranam tesham prashastra. So Brahma is the Prashastra, or the one who is giving the Shasanam or the ordering. So Tesham Bhayakaranam. For all of them, the cause of fear is Brahma. Tasmad Asti. Therefore, there is this Brahma as the order, the one who is controlling and ordering that. Yadaste Bhritya Iva Rajnya Asmad Brahmanaha Bhayena Pravartande Tacha Bhayakaranam Anandam Brahma. Yadaste Bhrityaha Iva Rajnya. Just for a king, how a deputy or a servant of the king. The servant of a king or a deputy prime minister or minister of the king will be powerful. They will be afraid by many people in the ordinary human beings or the praja or the citizens. But they are without fearlessness, you can say. They are also afraid of Ratnya or the king. Therefore, Asmad Brahmanaha Bhayena Pravartande. Therefore, all the things which are happening in the nature, from the monocellular microbes to the entire cosmos, everything is performing their duties through their respective deities, because they are all afraid of Brahman, and he is the one who is instructing the everything. Only Bhayakaranam, because Tacha Bhayakaranam, all of them are having a cause of Bhayam in Brahma. Therefore, Brahman doesn't have anybody who is controlling it. Therefore, Brahman has no fear, and that fearlessness is the Ananda we are referring to. That fearlessness, that there is nothing which is there to be afraid of, because I am not finding anything separate from me. I am finding everything as myself. Yatra nanyat pasyati anyat shrunoti anyat vijanati. In this form, I have seen or I have become one with everything. Sarvatma bhava. I have become one with everything. So I am neither afraid of my body being decaying, dying, or getting amputed or going through anything. I am not the body. So why should I be afraid of it? Neither related to the body, the whole world, the wealth, the progeny, the statehood or the names and forms, everything is related to the physical body. When I am not even worried about my physical body, what to talk about everything acquired by the physical body for itself? They also have no relevance or no value for me. All that is I am now in a state of fearlessness, because I don't have the fear that I lose the body, because I am not even owning the body. The body is not mine. So what about losing everything related to the body? That Bhayakaranam, when it is not there, that state is called Ananda. So Anandam Brahma becomes literally a definition for Brahman itself. Satya Jnanam Anandam Anandam Brahma. Now it is Anandam Brahma. Tasya asya brahmanaha anandasya esha mimamsa vicharana bhavati. This brahmanaha anandasya, the nature of this ananda of Brahman, esha mimamsa bhavati, is what is being now thought about or analyzed by the Upanishad. Kim anandasya mimamsyam iti uchyate. Why should this be discussed and evaluated or studied in proper? Karanam kim uchyate. Kim anandaha. What is ananda we should know. Vishaya vishayi sambandha janitaha. Laukika ananda. What? We are only knowing happiness or bliss or whatever term we want to use it, only when I am the subject and there is an object which is giving me a happiness. Happiness means happiness and sorrow. The relationship or the variation on the happiness from the low unhappiness to the highest of the happiness, which is relative because of the subject and the object. I am the subject, everything else is the object. That is what is called the Laukika Ananda, or the happiness which is known to the Loka or the world, everyone in the world. Ahosvit Swabhavika. That is natural, because that is the way we have been trained. Our mind is trained like that. We know only one Ananda. The Ananda of even the meditation is an Ananda. Even, doing, something to the Ishvara or Brahma, or studying the Upanishads, also there are people who are getting Ananda out of it, because they think they are the subject and they are studying the object called Upanishad. But they have not learned from the Upanishad to go beyond the Upanishad, like the pole vault I refer to always. So therefore, what is the Ananda we need to describe or analyze in detail? Iti evam esha anandasya mimamsa. This is the requirement why we should be knowing what is the gradation of Ananda. Because from an ordinary human being, even up to Hiranyagarbha, the state of subjectiveness is present. A human being also is having a subjectiveness. I am the subject, everything else is an object. And even Hiranyagarbha has got the same. I am the Hiranyagarbha and I am the creator of everything. So he is the subject, everything else is his creation or the objects. So even from the point of view of the ordinary human being to the Hiranyagarbha, this thought of subject and object is present there. Therefore, we should know exactly what is the Ananda that is of Brahma, or one who has realized Brahma as the Brahmavid. That is why the Brahmavid apnodi param in the beginning of the Upanishad statement, when it mentioned about it, it is that from this point of view that he reaches the supreme or he attains the supreme. Apnodi param. Apnodi means pervades. Param means maximum. There is nothing other than that. So that is becomes a param. Because when you have nothing other than yourself, you become everything. So that is the param. And when in that state, where there is no udaram andaram kurute, where there is nothing and even an iota of separation for you, adatasya bhayam bhavati, there is no cause for you to be afraid of, and you will become in a state of fearlessness. And that fearlessness is the ananda which we are talking about, is the happiness, where we do not experience anything, where we do not perceive anything, we do not have any experience of anything else. That state of pure bliss, where there is no high or low, there is no left, right, upper, niche, and nothing, no way you can make a segregation. You are pure happiness personified. And that is the real happiness. And what is that? When it is reflected in the object, we think that the object has happiness. No, it is reflected because you are happiness. Your nature of happiness is being reflected in the object. You are lending the happiness to the object and then saying that now that object is giving me happiness. If happiness was there in the object, the same object at all times should give the happiness, or the same object should give happiness to everyone. But we are not seeing the same thing. So it cannot be that the happiness is there in the objects. When you reach a state of objectlessness, that is the state of absolute happiness. And that happiness, if you do not reach, next day morning when you wake up, you will say that I had a very bad night, I didn't sleep at all. And that is this thing. When you have not reached that state of objectlessness, That is the time when you are having all the problems of sleeplessness and then the tiredness out of that. So you can imagine the happiness which we are getting in our deep sleep when we are objectless. Even if it is maybe for a few seconds. If you look at the modern gadgets where you can track your sleep by the smartwatches or anything, you will know how much of your sleep is divided into dream, which is called the REM, the rapid eye movement. Then you have light sleep, you have deep sleep, and then you are waking hours, waking periods also in between. It is a graph by itself. So in that, even if it is for a 21 second, you get a deep sleep. That is good enough for you to be rejuvenated the next day morning. Imagine when you are in that all the time. That happiness is immeasurable. That is why it is said that it is what you call no gradation possible in it. No way you can gradate. All other places from an ordinary human being up to Brahma, there is gradation possible. Therefore, the Upanishad is now going into a long statement. I'll read the whole statement, but I'll explain to them in the coming Friday. Esha Anandasya Mimamsa Bhavati. This Ananda we will describe in detail. What is that? Yuva Syad Sadhu Yuva Dhyayakaha Ashishto Dridishto Balishtaha Tasyevam Prithvi Sarva Vittasya Purna Syad Sa Ego Manusha Anandaha Te Yajam Shatam Manushya Anandaha Sa Ego Manushya Gandharvanam Anandaha Shrotriyasya Cha Akamahatasya Te Yashatam Manushya Gandharvanam Anandaha Sa Ego Deva Gandharvanam Anandaha Shrotriyasya Cha Akamahasya Te Yashatam Deva Gandharvanam Anandaha Sa Ekaha Pidranam Chiraloka Lokanam Anandaha Shrotriyasya Cha Akamahatasya Te Ye Shatam Pidranam Chiraloka Lokanam Anandaha Sa Eka Ajanajanam Devanam Anandaha Shrotriyasya Cha Akamahatasya Te Ye Shatam Ajanajanam Devanam Anandaha Sa Ekaha Karmadevanam Devanam Anandaha Ye Karmana Devan Apiyanti Shrotriyasya Cha Akamahatasya Te Ye Shatam Karmadevanam Devanam Anandaha Sa Eko Devanam Anandaha Shrotriyasya Cha Akamahatasya Te Ye Shatam Devanam Anandaha Sa Eko Indrasya Anandaha Shrotriyasya Cha Akamahatasya Te Ye Shatam Indriya Anandaha Sa Eko Brihaspate Anandaha Shrotriyasya Cha Akamahatasya Te Ye Shatam Brihaspate Anandaha Sa Eko Prajapate Anandaha Shrotriyasya Cha Akamahatasya Te Ye Shatam Prajapate Anandaha Sa Eko Brahmana Anandaha Shrotriyasya Cha Akamahatasya Saheschayam Purushe Yaschasavaditye Sa Ekaha Saya Evam Vit Asmad Lokat Pretya Etam Annamayam Anandam Upasangramati Edam Pranamayam Atmanam Upasangramati Edam Manomayam Atmanam Upasangramati Edam Vijnanamayam Atmanam Upasangramati Edam Anandamayam Atmanam Upasangramati Tadapyesha Sloko Bhavati Iti Ashtama Anuvak. Now, what is to be understood is that here Asmad, we saw the bhiti or the fear which is that. Now what is the Mimamsa or the description which we are going to examine? Mimamsa means examination or analysis, reasoned conclusion. Bhavati. What is that? Yuva Syad Sadhu Adhyayakaha. That is, Yuva means youthful. Syad. Let us assume that if be there a sadhu yuva, pious youth, adhyayakaha, mean well versed in scriptures. He is a youth, we are assuming, okay, don't think that there is a person like that. We are assuming there is a person who is pious youth, well versed in all the scriptures. Ashishtaha, he is full of hope and very pious temperament. Dhradishtaha, with a resolute. Balishtaha, he is strong. Tasya iyam sarva prithvi vitasya purna syat. Tasya, for him, iyam sarva prithvi, all the wealth in this world, in this earth, purna syat, complete with him. That sa ekaha, that is one unit of manushya ananda. A human being happiness, which is a measure of one unit, is enjoyed only by a person who is youthful, permanently in youthful, and he is pious, well versed in all the scriptures, he is full of hope, resolute, strong, and he is having the entire earth under his control. All the wealth and everything what is possible in the earth is his. That is one unit of manushya ananda. That is the happiness of maximum happiness one human being can achieve. Te ye shatam manushya anandaha sa ekaha manushya gandharvanam anandaha. Now let us assume that there is somebody called Manushya Gandharva. Whereas who are the Manushya Gandharva? Manushya Gandharvas are the people who have got special powers in the higher realms than that of ordinary human beings. This king whom I mentioned doesn't have a power in the celestial world. But there are human beings who have access to the celestial world. They are having both happiness of this world and the celestial happiness. So, the Deva Gandharva, Manushya Gandharva is such a person who has the access of both the world of happiness, the earthly happiness and the celestial happiness. And 100 times of the human happiness is one happiness of this Manushya Gandharva. Tadacha Shrotriyasya Akamaghatasya Anandaha. But also there is one versed in Vedas, Shrotriya, well versed in Shrotriya, Akamaghatasya, not smitten by the desires. He is not a victim of shears. In the human being, you cannot find a person who is not bitten by the desires. So that has been not mentioned in the human happiness. But in the Manushya Gandharvanam, in the Manushya Gandharvas, there are people who are not smitten by or victims of desires. They are higher happiness than that of Manushya Gandharvas. And that is considered as one unit. Among Manushya Gandharva, that person who has no desires, as a Manushya Gandharva, his happiness is the highest among them. And that is considered as one. Like that, it is going from Manushya Gandharva up to Brihaspati. And beyond Brihaspati is Brahmana Ananda, one who has identified himself with Brahman, which we will elaborate it in detail in the Friday's class. So I am stopping it here for us to continue in the Friday. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunattu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you. Dhanyavada.
Thank you very, very much, Bindaji. A lot to actually ponder, a lot there. We're going to open up the hand raising and the chat. I see the hand raising is already open. And if people would like to further inquire into this with Bindaji, what has been presented today, please raise your hand for all of our benefit and come on up. And while we wait to see about that, and in its own right, Prakash, did you have anything you would like to say about today's class?
Oh, just a heartfelt thank you to Binduji for guiding us through this. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Anandam Brahman. So, it's very, 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 very beautiful. Thank you, Binduji.
Thank you, Prakash.
Something that, the Sravana Manana starts to bear fruit. Because first is just mostly a description. Now the reward is Ananda. So, thank you, Binduji.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you again, everyone, for being here. And let's continue the class and any questions that you have on Friday. Thank you.
You can ask on Friday or even the open discussion room on Sunday. We'll meet again on Friday, continue in this, the gradation of happiness from human being up to one who has become one with the Brahman. And then, why is the fearlessness as the happiness of Brahman will be realized at that time. So, Friday we'll discuss in detail that. Thank you. Hari Om. Namaste.
Hari Om.
Namaste.